These were U.S. military or intelligence reports. These were not civilian reports. These reports that were being taken by trained observers in some of America's most sophisticated platforms. And their observations were being backed up by gun camera footage and electro-optical devices, and further backed up by radar. So you had three independent sources of data collection that were all recording the same thing at the same time, at the same place, under the same circumstances. So these clearly weren't weather anomalies. These weren't artifacts of the camera. These were real, indeed, objects, and they were in our controlled airspace, and we did not know what they were. The government has spent decades looking into this topic through efforts such as Project Blue Book and ATIP and the UAP Task Force and others. And the fact that it is finally having an open conversation despite decades of denial, I think is a tremendous step forward. It's not nearly enough, however, because it is partial transparency, although better than no transparency, is still not complete transparency. And I think that this topic does not belong under the providence of any particular government, organization, or institution. I think it is a conversation that belongs to the American people, and quite frankly, could be the global community. Despite the decades worth of hypothesis by those people, both in the government and outside the government, that these could be some sort of secret U.S. technology, looks like we finally have closure on that. We now know it is not. So therefore, it can only be two possibilities. And that is it is either foreign adversarial technology, or it is something completely and totally different, an entirely different paradigm. I don't think you would have this technology locked up for 70 years in some sort of military technology. And first of all, our entire intelligence community not being able to figure it out. Secondly, for them to be able to keep it secret for so long. Third, not seeing that technology bled into something else that would be an indicator. I mean, if that's the case, then every one of their ICBMs would be a flying tic tac. You wouldn't need ICBMs. You wouldn't need a missile silo. You wouldn't need a launch vehicle. So I think it's ignorant for us to say, well, if it's not Russian or Chinese, it must be from the Pleiades or Alpha Proxima. Is it possible? Sure, but there's a whole bunch of other options that it could be too. We live in an incredible universe where there are realities all around us. There are dimensions. There's M theory, string theory. There's all sorts of hypotheses that suggest that the three-dimensional universe in which we live in, isn't quite so easy to explain.